Welcome back, grade 6. Today we're working on Nelson Math, chapter 2, section 8, comparing and ordering decimals. We're going to have a variety of tools at our disposal today to compare and order decimals. This one you are familiar with. This is the thousandths grid or thousands grid, depending how you are using it. And every one of these columns has 100 smaller rectangles in it. So I could look at this as showing tenths, for example, by counting my columns. There are 10 of them. I could show hundredths or hundred if I use the squares, of which there are 10 by 10, or they could be used as thousands or thousandths. So right now, for example, I could call this 217, or I could call it 217 thousandths, depending if I call the whole thing 1000 or if I call the whole thing a 1. So let's go to some other options we have. We could use our place value chart right here. We could put our numbers on here. On the previous grid, I showed you 217 thousandths, and I'm showing 217 thousandths right here. I could also call this 2/10ths, 100th, and 7 thousandths. And here's our number line, which you are familiar with as well. You can use all of these to show which ones are greater and which ones are smaller. Here is the question we're going to be working on today. Some of the 2002 results of the women's single luge are shown. Compare the times of Neuner and Wilczek. Use an inequality sign. Order the times from least to greatest and explain your strategy. And who won the race? So we are being asked to compare the first two times, Neuner and Wilczek. I'm going to write their times on this place value chart right here. I'm not going to write the whole time, however, and the reason for that is because all of them start off with 2 minutes. All of these times are exceedingly close. Take, for example, this first time, it's 2 minutes, 54 seconds, and 162 thousandths of 1 second. So all of them have 2 minutes. I can completely ignore that. That's not going to change my ranking of which one is the best time. Also, all of them have a 5 in the 10-second column. So I can ignore that too. I'm not going to ignore it, but I can ignore that too because all of these are the same. Where the numbers start to get different is in the ones second column. So I am going to write the two numbers down. So this is our first number. It is 2 minutes, 54 seconds, 162 one thousandths of a second. So I'm going to write the next one too for Wilczek. So just from this, we can compare these two times. We can see that 54.162 is less than 54.256 just from this chart. We can also state 54.254 is greater than 54.162. Both of those statements are true. I've stated it down here with inequality signs. 2 minutes, 54.162 seconds is less than 2 minutes, 54.254 seconds. But I can also write this, which is telling us the same thing. 2 minutes, 54.254 seconds is greater than 2 minutes, 54.162 seconds. For part B and C, we'll do that on a slide coming up. I've taken Wilczek's time. I've ignored the 2 minutes and 54 seconds. I have only put the 0.254. So 2/10ths, 500ths, 4 thousandths. I've written it here. This red shaded area is clearly more than the decimal 162 from Neuner. So the 162 would be one full column, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these, 6 of the tenths, and then 2 of the very small ones, or the thousandths. So we can also use the thousandths grid. Lastly, I'm going to show you on a number line. All of the number lines, the information is all right here. So we see Neuner, I've labeled on the bottom, I should say, I've labeled the number line on the bottom in tenth increments. So here's 52, 52.1, 52.2, 52.3, all the way down. However, in between 52.3 and 52.4, for example, would be all the different numbers with the tenths and the hundredths. So in this area right here, I would have 52.316, for instance, because 0.316 is greater than 52.300, but less than 52.400. I've also only gone to 53.1. I could have done 53.2 here, but that wouldn't have helped for this question. I can only fit these ones on here because Neuner and Wilczek are over 54 seconds in their time, 2 minutes 54. So they would be way over on the right. Their times are clearly higher. So I'm only going to label these 3 luge competitors with their 3 times. I've labeled them with an O, an N, and a K corresponding to the last letter or the first letter of their last name. So let's take a look. Here we have 2 minutes, 52.785 seconds. So once again, I've ignored the 2 minutes because they're all 2 minutes. And these 3 competitors all are 52 point something seconds. So the first one, 52.785. If I find 52.7, I know it's more than that, but I also know it's less than 52.800. So that's why I've labeled with an N this time right here. For Otto, it's 52.464 seconds, so I know that this time is more than 52.4, but less than 52.5, and that time falls right in here, just to the right of the halfway mark. The next one I'm going to look at is this one right here, 2 minutes, 52.865 seconds. I know it's more than 0.8, which is right here, but less than 52.9. So that places it about right there. I can't be exact on this number line because all of these individual thousandths are not labeled. I would have to really, really zoom in and have to somehow put 100 little hash marks in here for me to be able to get that, which is extremely difficult to do. So that's why I'm estimating and eyeballing where it is right there. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.